And here they are, all over again.
Cooper. Here's Durant with a chance, and he's done it! A brilliant goal by Durant. No room for any blushing violets in midfield tonight. Brilliantly taken down by Miller. Well, that's an inviting ball, it must be, yes! Corner coming in on the far side from this brilliant piece of play. Milne, good move by United, and there's a goal. Ian Ferguson. And that's why Jim McLean brought him to Tannadice. White is still in play, although that was very slow by the fullback again, Wishart. He really has to part with the ball quicker. He had players on the left of him, and now Mo Johnson. There's a brilliant ball. Aiken goes in. Can he make it? He's done it. A brilliant goal. No wonder Johnson wants to embrace him. Now Gagan. Looks towards that far side. There's a touch. It's a goal. It's the equaliser. Would you believe it? Paul Smith, with only 2 minutes remaining. A run forward by Sturrock. It's Sturrock for United. The goalkeeper is out. Here is Ralph Milner. A chance. He's done it. Yes. 1-0 for United. Coist to Durant, to Cooper. Cooper for Rangers. Beautiful performance by Cooper. And it's in, it's a goal, the equaliser. Brilliant run by Cooper.
Yes, some great goals there, and that's just to remind you of the scorers. Goal A, Ian Durant. Goal B, Bobby Connor. Goal C, Ian Ferguson. Goal D, Roy Aiken. Goal E, Paul Smith. Goal F, Ralph Milne. And goal G, Davy Cooper. And what we want you to do is put down on a postcard what you think are the best three, number 1, 2 and 3, with the letter of the goal, or indeed the name of the goal scorer beside 1, 2 and 3. And please send your entries to Skull Cup competition, BBC, Queen Margaret Drive, Glasgow G12 8DG, Skull Cup competition, BBC, Queen Margaret Drive, Glasgow G12 8DG. And back to Ibrox again. Well, is it Ibrox? Well, indeed it is, but it's a view of the old Ibrox, what it used to be like, the stadium here. It's a card sent by Mr. McWhitter from Irvine. It's what the place used to be like. Just to have a look around here. What an astonishing transformation. Thanks very much to all the people who've entered the competition. You've still a chance to win, by the way. Can I remind you that Sports Scene will be on tomorrow again, Sunday Sports Scene at 4:35, with a very exciting rugby game between West of Scotland and the game, Republic of Ireland against Scotland in the European Championship. The whole game live. That's live from Lansdowne Park, Dublin, the very important European Championship game between Scotland and the Republic of Ireland, starting on BBC 2, let me emphasise, at 3:20. Hope you can join us then. Oh well, brings back memories, I'm sure, to a lot of people seeing this again, but from Mr. McWhitter's stadium of the past to Mr. Souness's stadium of the future. As I said, what a transformation. Good night.
In world football. All roads lead to Hampden Park in Glasgow this weekend for the latest chapter in the Celtic v Rangers story. Here's Jim.
Tomorrow's league fixtures take second billing this weekend to Sunday's Old Firm clash in the Scotland League Cup final. It's 40 years since the League Cup competition was launched, and the 1986 final will be the 10th occasion on which those age-old rivals have met in the Hampden showpiece. And as you would expect, it couldn't be closer, with Rangers having lifted the trophy 5 times and Celtic 4. In those games, Rangers have scored 11 goals, Celtic 17, and the difference is largely due to the Parkhead club's 7-1 win in the first Old Firm final back in 1957. In the 8 finals after that, just 1 goal separated the sides on each occasion. 11 years ago, a single goal was enough to take the trophy to Ibrox.
Jackson downfield, Young to McLean, intelligent return ball to Young. Darlene going in with McDonald. McLean unmarked at the far side, Edmondson headed across by Young. Here's McDonald, great ball! Minutes in the second half. Alec McDonald breaks the deadlock. Rangers lead by 1-0.
7 years on, this time the cup was Parkhead bound. A rain-soaked Hampden crowd was treated to 3 tremendous goals, befitting a cup final.
Now Proven. Inside it goes. And Nicholas does it again. Proven's corner kick. Here's Aiken. Proven came back to stay onside. Right across the far side. McAdam is there. McKinnon very determined. Vintage goal from Mother McLeod. Well, a goal-to saver from McLeod. His 10th goal of the season. And seldom has one been enjoyed more. Right across by Proven. McAdam came in at the far post. A good header down. McKinnon did well with this challenge. Heading it out, and it fell to that powerful right foot of Mother McLeod. Just look at that for a finish. Bet, Pritz and Cooper are all round the ball. Referee Kenny Hope waving the wall further back. Cooper leaves it this time to Bet. Flighted in. Bet does it, and Rangers are back in the match.
Back in the match, yes, but time was to run out on the Ibrox men. Meanwhile, injury and suspension has sidelined a trio of players who would have played a key role in this Sunday's final. A nagging calf injury looks certain to prevent Rangers player-manager Graham Souness from appearing in what would have been his first major cup final in Scotland. Defender David McPherson has to sit it out because of suspension, and that could mean a return for Ali Dawson, who now could get the chance to add to his various Rangers honours. With League and Scottish Cup triumphs as a Celtic manager, David Hay now goes for the trophy which so far has eluded him, the Kiev game and also of the Dundee United match. But tonight we can't show you the 3 goals from the Rangers Boavista game. We wanted to be there, but Rangers Football Club indicated that a fee may be required for news coverage. Television companies do pay for coverage of football matches as a whole or for highlights, but we don't believe that news programmes should pay for news access, so sorry Rangers fans, no goals from Ibrox. Now James Sanderson, that aside, are you still sticking to your prediction that Rangers will lift the Scottish League Cup on Sunday?
Yes, I'm doing that, and I'm waiting for the poison pen letters when I'm wrong, but I'm sticking to Rangers to win it.
Even though you've said, and you're on record as saying, that Celtic were better in Europe this week than Rangers were.
Undoubtedly, Celtic did very well against the Russians, very cynical Russians. I was disappointed in them. They've lost Tommy Barnes. I believe Graham Souness might play on Sunday, by the way, but I certainly think Celtic had a better European time this week. But history means nothing in this shootout. They talk about the big bang in finance. This is the big collision. It's a one-off, and it is unique without any doubt. And I admire the way the organisers kept Rangers and Celtic apart. I'm not making any suggestions, but I think they used Paul Daniels to make the draw.
Fair enough. What about the absence of David McPherson? I mean, will that let Rangers down on the day, do you think?
No, it's very important indeed. I thought he had a very good game against the Portuguese, who really won some Oscars for play acting rather than football, but McPherson was very important. That's why I think Graham Souness will give himself up to the very last minute to try to play at Hampden.
And what will David Hay do to cover for the absence of Tommy Burns?
Oh, I think David Hay is going to miss Tommy Burns, and I think what he could well do is begin with the team that finished against the men of Dynamo Kiev. That would take him out of any problem. I would really love to have seen Danny McGrain play at Hampden. I'd love to have seen the old man have one last go, and I'm sure the Celtic fans would have loved it too.
Briefly, James, a score prediction?
I'm going to go for Rangers, and I would perhaps go for 2-1, but a lot of people tell me it'll go to a penalty shootout. I hope not, because that's not football.
Thanks very much.
Why doesn't that man ever say what he means? 2-1 to Rangers. We'll check up on that on Monday. We're almost finished tonight, but...
The game live on BBC One Scotland. Such is the interest in the first Old Firm Cup final in 3 years. Both teams are attracting huge followings, with Celtic leading the Premier League and Rangers lying third. The Parkhead side will miss Tommy Burns, injured against Dynamo Kiev, while Rangers will be without player-manager Graham Souness, who managed just half an hour against Boavista last night, and Dave McPherson, who's suspended. Without Souness, the Ibrox side won the first Old Firm League game back in September.
Cooper. Will Durant with a chance, and he's done it! A brilliant goal by Durant.
All Rangers and Celtic games are difficult matches, and I don't think any one of the two teams could say that they've got the beating of the other. I think you just take each game on a day as it comes. Hope you do well and hope you win.
The game against Boavista last night, of course, was a very trying match. Graham looked as if he's out for the match on Sunday. Is that the case?
Yeah, he's definitely out as it stands at the moment, and we'll just need to go on with it.
Now, you've been playing without Graham in midfield, but is that a particular blow for his first Old Firm match?
Well, as you said, all during the season, Graham's been in and out due to suspension and injury. I think it's a blow losing a player of his standing, but at the same time, we've had to cope with it on and off during the season, and hopefully we'll do that again on Sunday.
How did Ted McMinn come through the game?
OK, he was leading the game. We didn't get the opportunity to get him a reserve match before he played, and obviously the hour or so that he played will not have done him any harm.
The other man that Celtic will be watching closely is Davy Cooper.
Good over Rangers. Beautiful performance by Cooper, and it's in, it's a goal, the equaliser. Brilliant run by Cooper.
The Rangers players trained this morning before heading for Troon, as did Celtic before travelling to Sea Mill. Manager David Hay is still counting the cost of Wednesday's tough match against Kiev.
Well, I think they recovered OK, but unfortunately we will be missing Tommy Burns on Sunday.
How much of an influence would he have been in the park?
He'll be sorely missed, but having said that, the person will come in and sure do as well as Tommy would have done.
Now, without Graham Souness, Rangers have a disadvantage as well. Does that affect your plans in any way?
Not really, actually. They beat us the last time without Graham, so maybe it's as well he's not playing.
Are you pleased the way the team's been going the last few weeks?
Yeah, they've done well with a reasonable start to the season. Did well against Kiev on Wednesday. But unfortunately, we lost the goal the way they did, and they took command. But in fairness to the players, they come back. But I think this game on Sunday, both teams are going into it in an even keel, and either team could win it. I think possibly who may get a break in the day might be the deciding factor.
Celtic made the final after a brilliant first-half display against Motherwell at Hampden.
Stay, Kennedy, and there's a beautiful goal by McClare.
Rangers will take note that Roy Aitken doesn't just stop goals, he scores them too.
And now Mo Johnson, there's a brilliant ball. Aitken goes in, can he make it? He's done it, a brilliant goal.
You've got a bit of a score to settle with Rangers then, having lost one cup final to them. How do you approach this game?
Yeah, I've lost one, but many years ago I used to win a few against them. But I think what we'll be looking for is improvement of performance we had against them in the league game at Ibrox.
On the day British summertime ends, the skiing...
Hearts against Dundee United at Tynecastle. But our man Ian Archer is at Hampden Park to preview what should be a cracker.
Yes, Saint, it's Glasgow's Derby Day tomorrow. And with all due respect to the other games up and down the country, this one makes all the other derbies look as peaceful as a couple of neighbours having a chat while they hang out the washing. Rangers v Celtic in the Skull Cup final. And these were the scenes last week when they put the tickets on offer. No, it's not the first day of Harrods' sale. It's the 74,000 places for this cup final, which were all snapped up in just 2 hours. And it really is two for the price of one cup final, because this is a Scottish League Cup, which has been played for years, and this is the cup that the sponsors Skull put up as well. Rangers are seeking their first trophy under Graham Souness, but he'll have mixed feelings tomorrow because he won't play. He was injured in that disappointing European tie against Boavista of Portugal. And Celtic will be without Tommy Burns, saying like this.
Still McStay. Excellent play from the Scotland midfield player. A chance for Johnston, and Celtic are ahead. Archdeacon. Chance again for Celtic. Ryan McClair. 2-0. Here's Durant. Now McCoist. The out-swinging cross. Cammy Fraser. Brilliant goal from Rangers. Johnston for Celtic. That's a fine pass to Burns. A great chance for Celtic for the third. Brilliantly finished. 3-1 to Celtic. Down to the ball, beating Grant. Here's McCoist. Magnificent goal, Ali McCoist. Scotland's top goal scorer. Russell hugging the right touchline. There's Burns in his new role in midfield. Fine pass to McPherson. Mother McLeod back with him. Lower flick. That's the third. Well taken by Bonner. Right back in and under the crossbar. Touched in by Cammy Fraser. So it's Celtic again, coming more into the match. Oh, Johnston taking on McPherson. McLeod! Martin McLeod makes it 4 apiece.
No one can guarantee it'll be 4 apiece again, but we can assure you of a final graced by 2 great characters. Rangers fans called Ted McMinn the Tin Man, as daft a winger as Toss Chamberlain ever was Greavsie, but the Tin Man could be pure gold tomorrow. And Celtic have Alan McInally, alias Rambo to the fans, and who, like Sylvester Stallone, likes to take people on single-handed. Knowing you two, I suppose you'll want a prediction. Well, I'll tell you something. I found a fence, and I'm going to sit on it. I don't want my weekend ruined. But I'll tell you one thing, though. It could be the first ever British final decided on penalties. Saint, you tell me who's going to win.
Tell you what, looking at that fence, he's likely to get his weekend ruined. But come on, he's put you on the spot, Saint. Who do you think? Ian's put you on the spot.
Well, I don't think Souness will play because you come off in midweek, Jim, and I think if you come off in midweek, you don't play at the weekend.
That's
I think he's got a muscle injury. So I think without Souness, I fancy Celtic. So I will go for the Celtic on that one.
You're not going to Glasgow?
No. If we didn't have the big match live, I would have gone to that one because, I mean, it's got everything.
But then you wouldn't have made your prediction, would you?
No, you're right there. Just a point out in that piece, Jim, I thought was interesting. When he was talking about the trophies, now they've kept the old league trophy, haven't they? The old League Cup trophy, and just give the new trophy
each year.
That's right. Now, why didn't we do that with our old championship? You know, where the Canon League, now we've got the Today League, and they've put the old one into the cupboard out the road, which I think
they
is
shouldn't
terrible.
do, because it's nice to have a marvellous trophy, isn't it?
Well, it's tradition.
That's right.
You know, that's what the game is about.
I don't know why. We'll have to ask somebody.
Okay. Right, well, the European scene in midweek, Jim, we've got 1 or 2...
They play for Rangers against Celtic in tomorrow's Skull Cup final. On the other hand, both managers, Graham Souness and David Hay, had spells in England, as did the 2 key goal scorers, Mo Johnston and Ali McCoist, both of whom hit the headlines with vital European goals this week.
Testing the floodlights at Hampden Park is something akin to lighting a fiery beacon to indicate to everybody that people from all over the world will be here in this famous stadium tomorrow afternoon for the first cup final of the season. Now, there's a problem. How do you get 500,000 into 75,000, because that's a number that's allowed at Hampden Park now, with an unprecedented response to this final? I've never seen anything quite like it, and honestly, I don't really have a ticket myself.
And the one many spare tickets on Wednesday night as almost 50,000 watched what was a warm-up, turned out, with their possession and accuracy of passing and penetration, to be the finest existing exponents of the counter-attack.
And that must be brilliantly saved from Belanov by Porter.
The Russians, though, in return learned all about Mo Johnson and how even the best-laid schemes can be taken apart by an elusive striker. And without doubt, currently Celtic's greatest asset, and worth every penny of the reputed 350,000 which was spent to bring him back from exile at Watford. He could have made a real name for himself in the south with play like this from the FA Cup final. But the eventual lure of his native heath was irresistible.
When I got the phone call to say that was to sign for Celtic, I was over the moon. When I came back, it was just a dream come true. Going the way Dundee United and Aberdeen are playing, Hearts as well. It is a good league now.
On the other side of the city, Ibrox Stadium houses people with fierce ambition, not the least of which are Terry Butcher and Graham Souness, whose injury in midweek will almost certainly keep him out of the final. But the Mo Johnson counterpart at Ibrox is Ali McCoist, who's already scored 17 League Cup goals in his career and who didn't really find his feet in England, let alone a goal-scoring touch.
I think I was playing with a struggling team, although the lads did very well and they were good players and I learned a lot. We struggled each year, we're fighting against relegation, and I don't think this helps the strikers' cause. I think down south, the forwards are given slightly more time on the ball, whereas up here, defenders are closing you down and tackling you right away. It's a different type of game.
Do you think Terry Butcher experiences that as well?
I think Terry Butcher, if he's going to be honest with himself, which he would be, he would say he found that the first 3 or 4 games, to which he settled in, and now he's playing absolutely magnificently.
Do you think it's a bit of a myth to say that the Rangers-Celtic game is different, that it brings out a different kind of response, or is it true?
I think it's definitely true. I think it's, without doubt, the most unbelievable club match in the world. I think everybody that's played in one would agree with that. I mean, you've got 2 sets of fans there who just want their own team to win. There's a constant noise throughout the 90 minutes. It's just unbelievable to play in.
Now, what do you think of Ali McCoist as a player?
Yeah, he's a very good player. I've worked beside him at an international level. Great striker of the ball and an instant goal scorer.
I think Mo is possibly at the moment the best striker in Britain. Undoubtedly, his finishing's first class and his record speaks for himself.
What's he to be watched for then? Big Terry will know. You're given half a chance, half a yard and he'll stick the chance away. He's very, very clinical. I think, to be fair, this season he seems to be working a lot harder outside the box and he's possibly creating and helping a lot more than he did in the last couple of seasons, whereas his goal record this season again is second to none. It's great. Very good player to have in your team. I wish he was in our team on Sunday rather, but unfortunately it's not to be.
The last time the two met not so long ago, I backed Celtic. They lost. Tomorrow I fancy Rangers, so the logic means that, well, you can work that one out for yourselves. What I will predict is that this whole occasion tomorrow will be a marvellous advert for Scottish football.
Yeah, in fact, Scottish football, Emlyn, is such on the up and up, isn't it? 25% up the gates,
It's on a boom, yeah. Rangers, well, Graham Souness and Rangers have done it because they bought 2 or 3 English players to go up there, and that's created a whole new interest for people to come along and boo the English up in Scotland.
I can hear them yelling at you already. Archie is going for Rangers now, which, what do you think? I mean, Graham Souness has now said that he might play.
Yeah,
so...
I was up in Scotland yesterday, Bob, and I watched on the telly last night a thing by BBC Scotland up there, and it was showing the 2 teams playing in a few recent games. And the thing that stuck out in my mind was not Graham Souness, not Ali McCoist, not Mo Johnson. It was a lad called Davy Cooper, and it showed you for about 5 or 6 minutes him in the game. He's got more skill than anybody I've seen in the game in England and Scotland since Bestie, and I can't pay anybody higher compliment than I'm not saying he was as good as Bestie.
That gets rid of any defensive sort of things at all, doesn't it?
You can't stop that. That is pure genius. If he runs at players, gets past them, gets in the box and scores a goal, you can't ask for any more.
That's your reason for Rangers, is it?
I'm going for Rangers.
Mo Johnson, though, I mean, he could win the game single-handed. I mean, Ali McCoy said he's the best striker in Britain.
Yeah, but has he forgot Ian Rush? What's he think he's talking about there? Don't they know about Ian Rush up in Scotland?
Yeah. Anyway, you're tipping Rangers, Emma.
Yes, Rangers, so I'll put the mockers on them.
Yes. Right, well, now I know who to back. Incidentally, what chance of Norwich City of winning the League Championship?
Truthfully...
On Scotland, live coverage of Celtic versus Rangers at Hampden in
At the end of the day, a point apiece, just about right.
Are in Portugal and will be kicking off in about 2 hours' time against Boa Vista in the second leg of their UEFA Cup tie. The Ibrox team are guarding a 2-1 lead from the first leg, but have team problems for tonight's match. Derek Ray, who's in Portugal...
Out of the European Cup in the Soviet Union this afternoon, losing 3-1 to Dynamo Kiev. The Parkhead men went out 4-2 on aggregate. Here's Jim White.
It was a brave and gritty Celtic performance. They lost an early goal in the 13th minute, but drew level into the second half through Mark McGee. But in the end, Dinamo, lifted by a huge 100,000 crowd, shifted up a gear and scored 2 more goals. Here now are 2 key moments from the game. Dinamo's opener, followed by a Paul McStay miss when Celtic were just a goal down.
Bonner is in excellent form we've seen so far, but could have a problem from this set piece. The wall is back to full 10 yards. And the square, Bonner couldn't reach it. Blocking has done it for Dynamo Kiev. A magnificent free kick. Over the wall, Bonner couldn't reach it. And that is a free kick of the highest class from Oleg Blocking. It's a loose one by Demyanenko. Grant asking a lot of Paul McStay, but he did well, reacted very quickly indeed to find the clear. With a chance for Celtic. And it goes back off the post.
So all the action from that game on Scott Sports Special tonight at 10:45. Now UEFA Cup news, and Rangers go into the 3rd round draw on Friday after a memorable win in Portugal last night against Boa Vista. A Derek Ferguson goal in the second half took them through on a 3-1 aggregate. Now from a Dougie Bell throw-in, Davy Cooper terrorised the Boa Vista defence with a show of tremendous close control. He then squared the ball to Ferguson and he blasted it past Boa Vista keeper Hubart. Graham Souness and Walter Smith celebrated on the Rangers bench. And so too did the 1,000-strong Rangers support who'd made the trip to Oporto. And so a great night for Rangers. And today, the man at the very top of the club was in Glasgow, as you saw earlier in the programme, to sign a major business deal. Rangers Supremo Lawrence Marlborough spoke publicly for the first time about his hopes for the Ibrox club. Unlike Rangers Chief Executive David Holmes, Marlborough wasn't in Portugal for last night's game. He described to Michael Mulford his part in the running of Rangers.
The situation at Rangers is that they have a professional team. David Holmes is doing a good job in that department. He in turn has appointed good professional administrators. They in turn have appointed good professional players, and that's the way you run a business.
And when you see results like last night, what does that mean to you?
It means they're doing what they're paid for.
You have invested, of course, a lot of money in new players and the manager himself. Presumably you must be pleased at the way things have worked out.
The club's improving and we're looking for continuing improvement.
We grew up a bit last night and found out what it was like to go into a European environment and come out with a win.
Bit of a knife-edge situation, wasn't it? Because if they scored 1 goal, it meant that they would go through on aggregate.
Yeah, that's always a hard one. That at one stage in the game when they were really flinging everything at us, it was 1 goal was going to make it their game. And 2 great saves and a goal later on, they needed 3, so the whole thing changed. The game finished and I was absolutely relieved and delighted.
Meanwhile, joining Rangers in the UEFA draw will be Dundee United. United lost to Craiova 1-0 in Romania today, but went through 3-1 on aggregate. Arthur Montford reports now from Romania.
Yes, Dundee United got through, and at the end it was a fairly comfortable performance by them.
Well, we must remember this bonfire night to give you the weather forecast. And with a bit of luck, your bonfire shouldn't be too much of a damp squib.
An aggregate, and the only danger remaining was from the home support, whose missiles cut short the Ibrox dugout celebrations.
Well, obviously, after a disappointing away result in Finland in the last round, we were looking to go there and show that we could win away from home. And obviously, we're really pleased that we did do.
The millionaire owner of Rangers, Lawrence Marlborough, made a surprise appearance today to announce a partnership between the company he chairs, John Lawrence Glasgow, and English home builders Lovell. The £12 million deal to increase house building will create over 200 new jobs. But he also spoke for the first time about the Ibrox revival.
The secret about all businesses is not to fail, and that would be the first criteria, that we are not going to fail. And anything that we're involved in, we're looking for competent management, not to achieve miracles, but just to perform in the way that, to the standards we would expect. And that's all we want. We don't ask for any more from anyone that we employ.
How much were you behind the tremendous spending spree involved at the club over the summer then?
I'm not involved in that.
Have you left it entirely for David Holmes?
They have a board, they have a management structure, they get on with it.
And do you yourself take a deep personal interest in the running of the club?
Oh, I'm a punter, I like to watch matches.
Could you crystallise the ambitions you have for the club then?
Well, as I said earlier, the secret of all organisations is to establish that you're not going to fail. And I think you take it from there.
So how pleased are you at the progress been made so far?
Well, in that, I think what is happening is an improvement, and we would hope to be able to build on that. I think they're doing very well.
And into the hat with them go Rangers, who achieved a magnificent result against Boa Vista in Portugal last night. The Ibrox club led 2-1 from the first leg and knew that a 1-0 defeat would put them out. But right from the start, Rangers' tactics were impressive. They kept forcing on the play, looking for the goal that would possibly make the tie secure. And much of the play came through the left in the first half. Free kick at the edge of the box and an opportunity for Rangers to apply pressure. Watch for McCoy's coming in and Cooper's free kick. Fine save by the keeper, and the Portuguese defence happy to get the ball away. On into the second half now, and Rangers again looking for the goal. McCoy always willing to break on that left side of the field, and here he is with a very, very good opportunity. Goalkeeper Hubert is the last link here, the last chance to save the goal, and that's a very good save after a good run by McCoy. But then the golden goal for Rangers, and again it's a brilliant build-up from Davy Cooper, who's having quite a remarkable season. Derek Ferguson is a player coming up, his right foot shot is in the net, and Rangers lead by 1-0, 3-1 in aggregate, and a golden away goal. Delight on the bench, delight on the field, and delight for the Ibrox fans who know that their team are through. So a fine win for Rangers, but a victory tempered with the news that manager Graham Souness has a bad Achilles tendon injury, which will require an operation, and he's certain to be out of football for at least a month. News of that UEFA Cup draw on Friday, by the way, in Scotland today on Scottish television, and on North tonight on Grampian. Right now, though, we've taken a break, and when you...
Manchester United. And as he signed in Manchester, Scotland's two remaining sides in Europe, Rangers and Dundee United, discovered that their third-round UEFA Cup opposition. Here's Jim White.
First, that European draw made in Switzerland today. Rangers and Dundee United, who successfully saw off the second-round challenge of Boa Vista and Craiova, respectively, went into the hat with some of the biggest European club names in the game. In the end, Rangers were drawn against Germans Borussia Mönchengladbach, 7-1 aggregate conquerors this week of Dutch side Feyenoord. Dundee United landed Yugoslavs Hajduk Split, winners over Bulgarians Plovdiv in midweek. The ties will be played on November the 26th and December the 10th. And we discussed the implications of that draw in a moment. Meanwhile, in Manchester today, Alex Ferguson officially became the manager of Manchester United. He'll be joined officially next week by the man who will be his assistant at Old Trafford, Archie Knox. Mike Nally of Granada Television now reports.
Young fans were quick to crowd Ferguson when he arrived at United's training ground in Salford. United have given him a 4-year contract at a salary of more than £70,000 a year to inspire a revival of fortunes at Old Trafford. He knows it's going to be a tough task.
We're looking to win the games that we're going to. It's the only way you can attack it. I mean, it's the same way we do in my own club, my old club Aberdeen. You can't be negative in your thoughts on any job like this in particular.
United chairman Martin Edwards, who sacked Atkinson with a brief goodbye after expressing confidence in him, formally welcomed Ferguson at a press conference at Old Trafford later. He comes with a string of trophies behind him. How long has he got if he doesn't add to the pots around the room here?
Well, I mean, I don't like speculating on things like that. I mean, Alec's been given a 4-year contract to put things right. I'd be very unhappy if he didn't make those 4 years. What you've got to bear is that Ron was here 5.5 years. That's not a particularly short period of time. I think that you know, we like to give managers time to prove things. We don't like to hire and fire people, and we're sorry that you know, at the end that we had to take the decision on Ron. But he was here for 5.5 years, which is a reasonably good stint with a top club.
Tonight, the big question here in Scotland is who will succeed Ferguson at Pittodrie. 4 names have been mentioned as possible contenders today. 37-year-old Sandy Jardine, the Hearts assistant player-manager and the man regarded by some as favourite for the Aberdeen hot seat. Tommy McLean, the former Ranger and now manager of Motherwell. The 39-year-old is in his third year as Motherwell manager. Ex-Celt Lou Macari, now manager of English club Swindon Town. He's 37 and said today he would be flattered even to be considered. And an outside bet is Hibs assistant boss Tommy Craig. Now 35, the Easter Road assistant of 3.5 years, is a one-time Aberdeen player. Despite speculation, meanwhile, it's not thought club captain Willie Miller could be promoted to Aberdeen's player manager. Now, James Sanderson, your bet for the job at Pittodrie?
Well, if you want the best man in Scotland, you go for Jim McLean of Dundee United, no doubt about it. If you really want the best, the man who can succeed Ferguson, then Jim McLean would be the man. He can step right into the director's seat because he's a director at Dundee United. Now, that won't cause heart failure at Tannadice, but that's just too bad because I regard Jim McLean as a better manager than Alec Ferguson.
But could you conceive that McLean would actually leave Tannadice, where he is, after all, entrenched virtually?
Well, it's time to move at 50 years of age, and that's a big challenge at Aberdeen, and he is the one man who could take over from Ferguson almost overnight. No problem at all, and Tommy McLean can do the job also, of course, as there are plenty of candidates. I don't think we should be weeping and wailing about Alec Ferguson going, Jim. It was time for him to go. I think it's a good thing for Aberdeen that he's going at long last, because I think his ambitions lay elsewhere, and we are very fortunate we've got so many bright men able to step in and do a good job.
It's fair to say there was no love lost between yourself and Ferguson, James.
Oh, he just didn't speak to me, but I don't mind that. He'll find the Wolves in Manchester very much worse than I was, I'm sure.
Briefly, James, do you think he'll do a good job down at Old Trafford?
Yes, he's tough enough and abrasive enough, and I worked there when Sir Matt Busby was the boss, and Alec Ferguson can do the job there with Archie Knox at his side.
What about the UEFA Cup draw then today? Rangers, difficult one against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Dundee United have got to go to Yugoslavia to face Hajduk Split.
Well, I think it's a great draw. I think it's a top draw, a very good German team, a very good Yugoslavian team, and I say to people, if you haven't got a ticket, you better take your thermos fast and start queuing now.
But how do you rate their chances? I mean, can you see both Scottish sides going further?
Yes, I can. I think Borussia is very difficult. Jupp Heynckes is the boss of Borussia Mönchengladbach. They're a great team, high-scoring team. As you say, they beat Feyenoord. But Rangers must have a chance there. And I think that Dundee United would get through, even if Jim McLean has moved to Pittodrie by then.
We'll watch that one, James. Thanks.
The European opponents to face Rangers and Dundee United, and the developments surrounding the former Aberdeen manager Alec Ferguson, here's Bill McFarlane.
The draw for the third round of the UEFA Cup, made in Zurich today, has provided a stiff test for Scotland's two remaining representatives. Rangers will play Borussia Mönchengladbach, who finished fourth in the West German Bundesliga, and Dundee United will meet Hajduk Split, who came fourth in the Yugoslavian League. Both Scottish teams are at home first, with the ties on November the 26th and December the 10th. Meanwhile, Alec Ferguson, whose European and domestic success has taken him to Manchester, signed with United at Old Trafford this afternoon. His new club is, of course, still banned from Europe, so his first goal must be contention for the league title, once United, of course, escape from the relegation zone. Yesterday morning, Alec Ferguson was planning for tomorrow's match against St Mirren. Today, his mind is fixed on the game at Oxford. Instead of building Aberdeen's league challenge, he'll be looking to pull Manchester United clear of relegation.
I left probably the most secure job in British football. Well, I left contract at Aberdeen. There's only one club could possibly tempt me away from that. And there is only one club who would tempt me away from that. And it's the only club I ever wanted to go to, away from Aberdeen. But 8 years is a long time at Aberdeen, so it's obviously been a happy time for me. But I think the Manchester United is too big that I was not in any way going to turn that down.
But what were his feelings on taking his obvious successor, Archie Knox, with him and leaving Aberdeen in the lurch?
The easiest thing to do really was to leave Archie for a few weeks until they get a manager, or at the most, a month.
With Aberdeen behind him, Ferguson's now out to apply the successful Pittodrie formula to Old Trafford. Well, while some English clubs in the past have been dismissive of Scottish football, Manchester United couldn't ignore the 3 league titles, 4 Scottish Cups, 1 League Cup, and of course the European Cup Winners' Cup, won by Ferguson in 8 eventful years at Pittodrie.
Alec Ferguson is on now in the penalty area.
The first major honour Ferguson brought to Pittodrie was the Premier League title back in 1980. He added 2 Scottish Cups to that in 82 and 83, then went to Gothenburg for an even more important cup final against Real Madrid, John Hewitt clinching the Cup Winners' Cup. Then came a League and Cup double in '84, the Premier League Championship in '85, his first League Cup later that year, and the Scottish to round up a memorable Cup double last May.
John Jewett will try the shot on. He does, and he scored brilliantly.
9 major trophies in 8 years made Aberdeen under Ferguson the team of the decade. So, Manchester's gain is Aberdeen's loss, especially with the double blow of losing Archie Knox, who was offered Ferguson's job. In the city itself, the news has provoked a somewhat mixed reaction.
At the Pittodrie Bar in Aberdeen at lunchtime, the departure of the Dons co-managers dominated the conversation. And the sudden move brought a mixed reaction from the fans.
It's a sad case for Aberdeen. I think he's making a wrong move myself. I think he'll regret it in years.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock, but I was surprised that Archie Knox doing as well. And he'll do well down there probably, but it doesn't leave Aberdeen a bit of a problem.
Ferguson just there was preaching about having loyal players. He envied Rangers and Celtic for having that. No, in other words, he was condemning his players for leaving Aberdeen. He's set a perfect example. He's just walked out.
Meanwhile, at Pittodrie, Ian Donald, the club's vice-chairman who lost the fight to keep his manager in Aberdeen, seemed stunned by the turn of events.
Well, obviously, it's a shattering blow to the club because it's happened so quickly, virtually overnight. And from yesterday morning, having perhaps one of the best management teams in Britain, we find we're losing them both. So it's a devastating blow.
If you look at this place here and the players that are here, then the logical thing would have been to say, right, stay and you know, try and continue the success here. But in the end, I suppose maybe my heart overruled my head a wee bit.
So who will the two-man Aberdeen board go for now? They're not rushing a decision, and they'll make approaches next week. The Tynecastle pairing of manager Alec MacDonald and assistant Sandy Jardine may be a target, but Hearts would surely fight to keep them. However, Willie Miller's not thought to be in the running, despite the modern trend of appointing player managers.
And finally,
people are appearing before a special court in Darlington tonight after fighting broke out before the start of the third division match between Darlington and Middlesbrough. Several hundred fans spilled onto the pitch during the trouble. Manager Alex Ferguson has made a disappointing start to his first division career. Just 2 days into the job, he saw his side beaten at Oxford.
Manchester United's new manager was first off the coach today, relishing the prospect of action.
How are you looking forward to your first game at United? Oh, I'm excited about it, I must say that. I'm looking forward to it.
From the fans who last week barracked Ron Atkinson, a generous welcome. The 44-year-old Scot soon found himself at the centre of all the attention, from autograph hunters and photographers alike. But he soon felt a managerial chill as Oxford's John Aldridge was tripped by Kevin Moran early on. Referee Vickers was adamant, and Aldridge tucked home his 14th goal of the season. Manchester United were living dangerously, and from Langan's cross they almost conceded a second. After the interval, the visitors' best chance. From Blackmore's flick, Stapleton hits the bar. But it clearly wasn't Manchester United's day. Brock Centre is turned in by Neil Slatter for Oxford's second. For Manchester United and their new manager, the worst possible end to a turbulent week.
Ian Rush scored his 19th goal of the season for Liverpool to set up the 3-1 win at Queen's Park Rangers, as Dundee had a surprise 3-0 win over Dundee United. Celtic stayed top, a late goal gave them victory against Hamilton, Hearts beat Clydebank, but Rangers lost 1-0 at home to Motherwell.
Football club have a new chairman. In the latest dramatic move on the club's board, John Payton has resigned the chairmanship he's held for the past 3 years. And David Holmes, the man recognised as the real power behind the throne, has taken over as chairman, as well as being chief executive. He was seen as the spearhead of the campaign, which saw 3 other Rangers directors leave the board in February this year. But he says he doesn't plan any other radical changes.
To many Rangers fans, the appointment of David Holmes as club chairman won't be a great surprise. Since he joined the board last year, he's been generally regarded as the man with the real power. And after the boardroom coup, which saw the departure of Ray Simpson, Tom Dawson and James Robinson, John Payton may have been chairman, but David Holmes was running the show. But he says now all the changes are complete.
We have set our stall out in Rangers, and we're just going to continue down that road. It's unfortunate that this has come along, but like everything else, when changes are needed, you've just got to make the changes, and then everyone will have to adapt to it. But the die has been cast.
Why did John Payton decide to leave?
It's purely business and family business, and he feels that he would like to devote his time to the family business.
There was no way that he was being forced into...
No, that's not the case. We were very happy with the setup here, and it would have continued, but this came up and he's made the decision, and so things have got to go on, and it will go on.
Meanwhile, speculation that Hearts assistant manager Sandy Jardine could be the new boss at Aberdeen has been killed off once and for all. Last season's Player of the Year was today upgraded to Alec MacDonald's joint manager on a contract keeping both at Tynecastle until 1990. Two players, Sandy Clark and Craig Levine, have also been signed up for the next 3 years.
Wallace Mercer tried but failed to hide his joy at setting up Tynecastle's very own management co-op, following the example of Aberdeen, ironically the club linked by rumour with Sandy Jardine.
How much has today's announcement been prompted by the speculation surrounding Aberdeen's management?
Well, that really is their own domestic affair. I mean, Alec MacDonald was already on a long contract, and so was Sandy. It really was the manager's decision that really speculation should end and we should move forward, and Sandy Jardine was delighted to commit himself to Hearts Football Club, and I'm just honoured to have such excellent personnel working for us.
Got Rangers off to a flying start when his side faced Clydebank in the Premier Division.
Backed by a capacity Kilbowie crowd, Rangers attacked Clydebank from the start and within 3 minutes were ahead through Ali McCoist. The flair demanded by manager Souness led to number 2 as Robert Fleck gave McCoist his second. 19 minutes gone and Dave McPherson rose unmarked for Rangers' third. Terry Butcher, fresh from captaining England on Wednesday, was letting nothing past him, which was more than could be said for England teammate Chris Woods, whose moment's lapse almost cost dear. But that hiccup didn't upset Rangers, and Ian Durrant provided a fourth before half-time. Cammy Fraser seemed intent on making it 5. And in the second half, McCoist searched for his hat-trick. But it was Clydebank who found the net, with Lex Grant rounding Woods to make it 4-1.
But Celtic stayed top with a 1-0 win over Dundee United, while Hearts came from behind to beat Aberdeen 2-1.
I say losing by 1-0. Hearts are on 24 points in the Premier Division. Rangers on the 23-point mark. They got back onto form today. They had, in fact, 4 goals in the first half, with Ali McCoy scoring a couple in the first 8 minutes. The other scorers were David McPherson and Ian Durrant, with Lex Grant scoring for Clydebank, and poor old Hamilton.
Hello, good evening to you. The days of professional footballers enjoying the luxury of matches on Saturdays only, with only an occasional Wednesday thrown in to break the monotony of training, are long gone. There has hardly been a Wednesday since August when our top players haven't been in action, and with 44 matches to get through this expanded season, there was a full Premier League programme tonight. We've highlights of the Rangers-Dundee game in tonight's sports scene, which also features rallying...
Quite a few goals, and more so there was quite a few interesting incidents in the penalty box which we should look out for.
OK, we'll do that. Before we go to Ibrox, though, let's take a look at the rest of tonight's football results. In the Fine Fair League, has given Rangers more problems over the last few seasons than Dundee. Included amongst their recent wins over the Ibrox side are one in the Scottish Cup and one at Dens Park just a couple of months ago. Graham Souness, of course, has been at pains to point out that the Championship remains Rangers' top objective, and they're 6 points behind leaders Celtic, so a win tonight was a necessity, especially with Jockey Scott's team just 2 points further behind. The Commentator Championship tonight in the Heysel Stadium, Belgium 1, Bulgaria 1. Bulgaria apparently much the better side. They came to attack and they got a well-deserved point. That's a good result for us, but Bulgaria are looking good, John, aren't they?
Yes, I can understand why people underrated Bulgaria. After watching them at Hampden with a completely new side from the team that was in the World Cup, I was very impressed with them. They played a bit tight at Hampden, but by all accounts they played very attacking tonight and should have won the match in Brussels. But everybody's been thinking that Belgium's going to be our biggest opponents in this section. But I wouldn't discount Bulgaria, especially after the 2 results they've had away from home against us.
Right. And Belgium have now dropped 2 home points. Let's take a look at that table now after tonight's result. Scotland remain on top, Belgium with us, but Bulgaria 2 matches away from home, draws from each. Just a last word from you, John. The old managerial merry-go-round is on its way again. Ian Porterfield, the Donalds have surprised us at Pittodrie. I don't think he was quoted by many, was he?
Yeah, old Mr Donald's pulled another one out of the hat here, hasn't he? It was a complete shock to everybody. I know Ian Porterfield from way back. In fact, I remember playing against him with Wraith Rovers, if we can go back that far, Dougie, before you were born. But he's had a good record in England, Ian, and although he was in a little bit dispute with Sheffield United, I believe he's got that cleared up, and he'll do good well. Although I will say, it's a bit of a sticky appointment, that, because he's not been in Scotland for a long, long time.
That's right, a bit to learn, but we wish him very well indeed. And I'll tell you what, as regards the Hibs manager's job, Tommy Craig hasn't done himself any harm at all with that result tonight against Celtic. John, for the moment, thanks very much.
Tomorrow brings Don's new boss Ian Porterfield face-to-face with Graham Souness, the man who's reshaped the Ibrox club. For the details, plus a preview of this weekend's greatly awaited world title fight in Las Vegas, here's Jim White.
Yes, a look at the awesome punching power of New Yorker Mike Tyson in a moment, plus comments from ITV co-commentator Jim Watt in Las Vegas and James Sanderson here in the studio. But first, football. And new Aberdeen boss Ian Porterfield is in for a fiery Scottish managerial baptism tomorrow when his Don side meets Rangers at Pittodrie. And there's not a ticket to be had for the fixture, and a capacity 23,000 crowd is assured. Today, Strathclyde Police released a special statement to emphasise that fact. Rangers supporters, it says, not in possession of tickets should not, repeat, not travel, as there are no tickets available, and under no circumstances will admission without ticket be permitted. And there are the other Premier League fixtures tomorrow. Top of the table Celtic meet Falkirk, the Brockville club to become a Liverpool player. Clydebank play Motherwell, second top Dundee United meet manager-seeking Hibs. Hamilton will attempt to break their duck tomorrow against St Mirren, and Hearts meet Dundee. In the First Division, leaders Dunfermline take on middle-of-the-table Airdrie.
Porterfield and Graham Souness take their seats tomorrow. The Rangers following will be recalling this match 4 years ago.
Just for a moment, I think David Cooper wanted a short one, but it is the long one. There's Johnson scored! 1-0. Cooper's still there. A lovely reverse pass. Here's Russell to McKinnon, got to judge it well, the chip, there it is again, and Tripp scores, 2-0. And that couldn't be put in. Here is McGee coming out, and that just passed, and a penalty has been given. Brian McGinley has awarded a penalty, 15 minutes of the game remaining. Gordon Strachan to take it. 2-1. Clean as a whistle.
The first biography to be written describing the life of Scotland's greatest football manager is published next week. Mr. Stein is the story of a man who achieved the unlikely with Dunfermline and the previously unattainable with Celtic. I asked the author Bob Crampsey to assess Stein's achievements, beginning with Dunfermline.
Oh, I think this is why he's a great manager. Not so much for what he did at Celtic, oddly enough, although 9 wins in the trot, it's astonishing in the league. But if you win with Dunfermline, if you win with Hibs, and of course the 1961 Cup final was where it all took off from. Not only because he beat Celtic, but he beat Celtic in a replay, and the accepted wisdom was if you didn't beat Rangers or Celtic first time out, they took care of you the second time. And I think that gave Dunfermline confidence, and they were a considerable European side in the 60s. Only side still to have beaten 2 English First Division sides in cup competition in Europe.
Now, after moving to Hibs and then very suddenly on to Celtic, the pinnacle, of course, came in 1967. What are your memories of that particular occasion?
My memories, I was presenting the programme from at home in Glasgow and watching it on television. It wasn't until I saw maybe 3 or 4 reruns of the match that I realised how well Celtic had played, and that they would try things against the inter-defence. That doesn't work, we discard, we try something else. At the time you were conscious of the effort that had gone into it. You weren't conscious of how cleverly they'd played, and I wasn't conscious.
Now, he was a Scotland manager twice, of course, but you pointed to 1982 as the pinnacle of his success in that particular role?
I thought we did well in Spain. He himself may have been slightly disappointed, but I thought we did as well as could have been expected. We recovered from a very shaky spell against New Zealand, and that was the kind of match that Scottish sides had been losing. We gave Brazil an excellent run for their money for about an hour, and Davy Neri, of course, scored with must have been the hardest toe poke in the history of recorded football, I would think. And then we played extremely well against Russia, a 2-each draw, which has tended to be devalued because it wasn't enough to put us through.
He chose to start the book the way most people would end it, with his death at Cardiff. It was a very chilling experience, wasn't it?
I think it was profoundly moving. I equate it from personal experience with the death of John F. Kennedy, in the sense that this was somebody whom you did not know as a relative or close family friend, but you felt very touched by his death, and the death made a tremendous impact upon you. And I suppose it's perhaps a semi-trite thing to say, but it was a very fitting stage for him to go, if he had to go.
Looking back on all of that, do you think there will ever be a manager who can capture the same kind of spirit and achieve the same kind of success within Scotland?
I think it's very doubtful. He set a tremendous benchmark for folks coming after him to aim at. Doing it over such a long period of time, doing it over about 17 years, doing it with 3 different clubs, doing it to the sense that he totally dominated Scottish football, so that everything every other club did, including Rangers, was a reaction to what he was doing. I would doubt, it's always dangerous to say never, Bill, but I would think it's most unlikely that anybody will occupy that unique position of authority.
Impatient. It's now a week since Blackley quit the club, and today the Hibs board was still giving away few secrets. Aston Villa's Andy Gray still remains favourite for the job, but all day the club chairman Doug Ellis and manager Billy McNeill at Villa waited for a telephone call from Hibs which never came. So Gray, like the rest of us, waits for developments. Easter Road chairman Kenny Walsh did say he'd be making no swift appointment, and he's stuck to his guns. The board will meet again tomorrow, and things may become clearer then. Meanwhile, Dundee United and Rangers continue to prepare for their home UEFA third-round ties tomorrow night. There's good and bad news for United fans tonight. Striker Paul Sturrock appears to have overcome his toe injury and looks set to play, but skipper Paul Hegarty is still troubled by a groin injury, and he'll watch tomorrow night's action from the Tannadice stand. Dave Neri will wear the captain's armband. Hajduk split officials admit Sturrock is the man who worries them most. A clash with Borussia Mönchengladbach. And a short time ago, the Germans arrived at Glasgow Airport along with a small group of fans who'd made the journey. The Germans have no injury worries for the Ibrox first leg, and it's become clear late this afternoon that the strongest possible squad has been brought over. Through an interpreter, coach Jupp Heynckes explained his reaction to the UEFA draw with Rangers.
Dass es sicher für uns sehr schwer werden wird.
Well, it was a very good club they were drawn against, and it would be a very, very difficult game for them.
Does he think Borussia will win over 2 legs?
Glauben Sie, dass Borussia gewinnen über die 2 Spiele?
Muss man beide Spiele erstmal abwarten.
Got to wait. Just need to wait and see. Just need to wait and see.
Well, James Sanderson, the European ties in a moment. On the Hibernian front, though, I believe developments in the last 5 minutes.
Well, good news for Hibs fans, because Kenny Walker, the chairman of Hibs, has just told me a few minutes ago that he has approached Doug Ellis, the chairman of Aston Villa, and Billy McNeill for permission to speak to Andy Gray. Now, he has not done that yet, so Gray maybe have to wait till tomorrow morning.
Kenny Walker has taken his time, hasn't he?
Well, he's quite right to take his time, because he thought he had Billy McNeill 2.5 years ago, and that was a major disappointment. So I don't agree with the fans being impatient. They should wait, should let the chairman sort this out, because he's got to get this right. He really has. So he's got permission to approach Gray. But let me say this, if there's any hitch in a Gray thing, there are 50 other people. There are now 52 applicants, by the way. There are 50 other people in the queue. So he has plenty to choose from. The chairman will not be rushed. I think he's doing the right thing.
James, on the European front then, tomorrow night, Rangers have it tough against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Jupp Heynckes was confident this afternoon at Glasgow Airport. Now should he be confident?
Yes, if I were you, Pankers, I'd be confident because I saw him score 2 goals against Rangers, so I don't think his luck is with him, but I think Rangers have got to be at the very best.
What about Colin West? I mean, as soon as taking a risk there, possibly going to bring him back.
A major gamble. If West comes on and scores a goal, Souness is a hero. If West comes on and breaks down, Souness has egg in his face, and he's quite well aware of that. But Alec Ferguson used to throw teacups at Aberdeen. I'm told Graham Souness was almost doing the same thing when Aberdeen beat them on Saturday. So they've really got to get it right, be at their best.
Dundee United had to split, again not easy, but United have a habit of doing well at Tannadice.
And a reporter at Ibrox Stadium was Jock Brown, and the attendance there just over 38,000. Well, it's time for a break here at
Last Hibernian have a new manager. Here with details about that appointment and a look at this weekend's full football programme is Jim White.
Alec Miller is the new manager of Hibernian Football Club. Following an approach to St Mirren last night, his chairman, Kenny Walsh, was given permission to speak to Miller, and today the deal was finalised. So without applying, Miller has come out on top of over 50 other official applicants for the job and will now endeavour to pick up the Easter Road club from its present third-bottom Premier League position. So now St Mirren will have to begin a process which Hibs undertook a month ago, a hunt for a new manager. In a moment, the James Sanderson view of the Easter Road appointment. But a few moments ago, the new Hibs boss spoke to Nick Radcliffe at Easter Road.
Today was maybe one of the sorriest days of my life. I had to make a big decision. It wasn't made lightly. I had a chairman at St Mirren who was maybe just, he was like a father figure to me, and I can't give him any higher accolade than that. And I told him that I'd made the decision, and rightly or wrongly, that's up to me. I stand by it, and I'm looking forward to working for Hibernian Football Club.
What are your immediate plans for the club?
Well, my immediate plans is to get the players and have a wee chat with them and find out who wants to play for Hibernian, because at the end of the day it's important that you want to play here. An MD that doesn't show the commitment and attitude at Hibernian Football Club, I think the players at St Mirren will tell them they won't last with me.
And the Miller appointment in a moment. But now, a look not at the Premier Division or at the First Division. Unashamedly, we focus on the Second Division and the real struggle facing the bottom club there in mid-season. Halfway through the league term, that's where the players of East Stirlingshire find themselves. Still, the fight to improve on that position goes on. Of intriguing fixtures. Celtic, still leaders, of course, play Dundee. Dundee United take on Aberdeen. The tactics of Jim McLean versus those of Ian Porterfield. Falkirk play Motherwell. The ever-improving Hamilton Accies take on Clydebank. Alec Miller's Hibs play Rangers and St Mirren play Hearts. In the First Division, leaders Dunfermline play at home against Forfar. At the Hibs appointment, did you expect Alex Miller to get it?
No, it's the most expensive kiss of life ever to come out of Paisley, and that's what it is. What he's got to do is a resuscitation first aid job. And believe me, I must say this, I think he's a masochist. He's doubling his salary, but he's taking on a horrendous job. And what Kenny Waugh, the chairman, has done is he has done away with the people like Andy Gray, Joe Jordan syndrome, and gone for the homespun and experience of Miller. So time will tell if that's right. I admire Miller for taking it, but if I were he, I'd have stayed at Love Street, because St Mirren are in an excellent position, haven't got a lot of money, but they've in no relegation danger. So he's really sticking his neck out.
James, it wasn't too long ago when Frank McGarvey said, right, I want to leave Love Street, and Alex Miller said, where's your loyalty? Where's Miller's loyalty tonight?
Well, Miller's loyalty is to doubling his money, isn't it, and taking on the new challenge. But you see, managers walk out in clubs and then blame players. But Frank McGarvey got it right, and we'll see what St Mirren do now. This is the important thing. But really, Alec Miller has taken on a terrific job there. But I'm glad that Kenny Waugh has gone for a Scot, because I thought the rest was a cosmetic exercise. No player such as Gray or Jordan can walk into this mess and sort it out. You need someone of experience. Miller's certainly got that.
A tough task for Miller, a tough task for the players of East Stirlingshire. You must take your hat off to those guys, mustn't you?
Yes, I do, but I must be quite candid here. It's nice. That's the heart of football. It's not all about Rangers, Celtic and Aberdeen, but I believe in amalgamation. I believe these teams should amalgamate into a bigger team, bring in more people and be much more viable. The heart's all right, but you've got to have the head with it.
We'll see what happens. James, thanks.
Well, at the board meetings at Love Street and Easter Road today, Alec Miller has quit as manager of St Mirren to become manager of Hibs.
Supporters, but I think at Easter Road there is more scope for improvement and getting fans back into the terracing.
And how did he feel arriving at Easter Road following speculation linking other international names with the job while it had been vacant?
Well, I don't choose the names to go and press. I never approached Hibernian Football Club, they approached me, and I feel very honoured that Hibernian Football Club thought I was a man for the job.
Miller declines to say what salary he'll be earning and whether it tops what he earned at Paisley. And he was also cautious when questioned about whether he thought Hibs needed more money pumped in from the boardroom to help both on the playing side and with the club's more general image.
Hibernian Football Club in the last 2 seasons, or 3 seasons, have spent a tremendous amount of money. The chairman and his board have always backed the managers who have been in the hot seat. If I have to get in the market, then I'll wheel and deal that Hibernian Football Club were no spending fortunes.
And having taken St Mirren to Ibrox in midweek, Alec Miller now plays host to Rangers at Easter Road tomorrow. It was in the capital that Hearts checked Celtic's runaway lead on Wednesday, but at the halfway stage of the Premier League race, the champions still have a 5-point cushion over Dundee United, with Hearts, Rangers with a game in hand, and Aberdeen tucked in behind. With attendances up and hooliganism down, the League and Skull Cup have prospered. Here are 5 reasons why.
Edison, a brilliant equaliser. McClare. Mill, good move by United, and there's a goal. Ian Ferguson. Will it get the shot? Cahoon. Robertson's inside, and he's done it. Cooper. Here's Durant with a chance, and he's done it. A brilliant goal by Durant. Weir. Oh, he's done it. Oh, delightful.
Well,
of course, at Tannadice today, a goalless draw there, and that means that Aberdeen have had 8 shutouts in the last 10 games. A goalless draw too at Love Street today between St Mirren and Hearts, the 3rd of the season, and a wood save, a brilliant save at that, an acrobatic one I hear, 15 minutes from the end of the game from George McCluskey, got a goalless draw at Easter Road, and that means that Hibs have only won 1 of the last 12 matches, and Clydebank in their goalless draw today, well, that means they've gone 11 games without a win. Positions in the Premier League. Well, an important week coming up for us, and of course tomorrow night at 7:15 live from Studio A in Glasgow, we'll be finally establishing the sports scene personality for 1986. All the votes have been cast and counted. Nobody's let me into the secret. I don't think Dougie Donnelly knows.